too.
All right, everybody happy? Everybody good? Next. Do both. All right, you guys ready? Let's find out how we're gonna end this. One last time. All right.
Envoy? Is it really you? Mihala told us you went into some place called the Garden to seek a god?
When you didn't return, we took you for dead.
What did you see there? The god you felt in Nakutadek?
The origin of the Dream Scourge? It was the act of a god this whole time?
Everyone, please. We could get to the bottom of this if you would only let them speak. It's been weeks, Envoy. What happened?
Met the guy of the living lands and freed them.
Zapadal was responsible for the Dream Scourge. Their rage, their confusion, their fear.
But the plague isn't over. Dream Thralls still litter Shatterscarp.
There won't be any new infections. We've put a stop to that for good. Unfortunately, there's little we can do for those already in the grip of the Dream Scourge. We can give them comfort, nothing more. This will be a process. The Dream Scourge was never going to simply go away overnight.
I suppose it stands to reason. I found that a quick fix is often anything but. What of this god, then? What does it mean that you freed them?
So it all is God of the godless and the God of the living lands.
Ludwig had intimated that this land grew a new god. But how can that be?
Giada and I have some theories about the nature of the Adra in the living lands.
I'd say we're past the point of theorizing.
If the Adra here is a closed system, like a terrarium for our souls, then a gradual accumulation of essence could coalesce into a being in the beyond.
Much like the formation of gemstones. All it takes is time and the right application of pressure.
Wodka no doubt saw Zapadal as a threat to her authority. So, she killed the godless and imprisoned their god.
I assume it is this god we have to thank for the roots tearing apart Paradise? They erupted from the earth the moment those bastards stood up their first siege tower.
Nakutadek was raven with those things, not to mention what they did to the land.
We saw similar destruction at Nakuku Bell. If these roots and the Dream Scourge are the work of a god, and the gods thought it best to imprison this god, how could you let such a creature go free?
Or leave a young god to rot in a cage than I could a kith child. Choices already been made. I can't change it now.
Let's hope they don't decide to further amend themselves by coming for our heads.
It was Adir's arrival that disturbed Zapadal. We'll have nothing to fear from this god once we expel you from our lands.
Zapadal's power ravaged my people. I don't know that I can ever trust it.
Keeping watch over Zapadal was a sacred task Nandru gave us when he left. For that reason alone, my wardens owe them their allegiance.
Well, whatever happens, I suppose we can't put the godling back in the bottle now. But come, we have more pressing matters to attend to. The Steel Garrote have attacked Paradise. Inquisitor Ludwig has already joined the battle. She must have traveled like the wind to get here so fast.
I distinctly remember killing Lumen on the top of.
You did. I kicked her corpse when you weren't looking. Just to be sure.
Well, she's seen better days, but you wouldn't know it judging by how she fights.
Ludwine's plowed through the militia like a knife through warm butter.
All right, let's keep the similes to ourselves.
Oh, cheer up. You wouldn't be the first to make that mistake. Might not be the last either, depending on how things go. So long as her passion for Wodica lives, so too will her spirit.
Then we destroy her faith, and the rest of her will follow. I have a theory about this. Let's talk at camp if you want to hear it. But I think we can kill her.
Oh, good. That will be easy.
It is not, I think, impossible.
What did you know about this attack, Ambassador?
Well, you might not believe me, but I didn't want any of this to happen. It was Ludwine who called for the attack.
I didn't hear an answer, Ambassador.
She and her steel garrote laid siege to the city, shortly after you beat her to the garden. The lawful settlement of a new Adirian colony, supposedly. Or the establishment of a Wodican state. She could win with a godlike in her ranks. Your presence would serve as a powerful endorsement.
Bad fucking chance of that.
Somewhere inside that hollow head of hers, I believe she always hoped she'd turn you to her side. Remember, she has an obligation to Wodica, a solemn oath. And neither the Steel Garrote nor the queen that was look kindly upon oathbreakers.
We've had no news from inside for several days. From what we can observe, southern Paradis is in pieces, and the remaining militia batters at the gates to no avail.
Is there nothing our people can do?
Given the state of our supply routes after the Dream Scourge, and the Steel Garrote's destruction, we expect the people trapped inside will run short of fresh food and clean water in a matter of days.
We brought as many Hail and Able from Thirdborn as would come. But after the Dream Scourge and our losses from Nakukubel, we could spare so few. I worry it won't be enough.
Likewise, my wardens are still reeling from effects of the eruption. The keep was saved, but there is much to repair, particularly if we are to endure a siege. Most of my men remain at the keep. I can't risk them against the Steel Garrote for the sake of Paradis, not when we are so few.
Well, that's been a point of debate. We can't agree on how to stand against the Steel Garrote, nor who should lead the effort.
Nobody wants to risk their people at the front.
So you let the Paradis militia go it alone?
Even if our meager forces should make it inside.
The siege won't end until Ludwine does. And none of you know how to kill her.
Precisely.
Because a victory here would discourage resistance elsewhere. The better question is, why didn't you stop her?
Excuse me? She's a 7-foot-tall skeleton powered by her devotion to the goddess of retribution. This isn't my fault.
Sure. Just blame the dead woman. Very mature.
Who else should I blame exactly? Our envoy, perhaps? For not stopping Ludwine in the tusks?
You could start with blaming your own incompetence. Why are you treating him with kid gloves when Paradis cries out for help?
Enough. I've heard your concerns. We cannot change it now. The Inquisitor was so convinced the Living Lands would unite against Adir that she's nearly made it true. One people, one law, one true God. That's Ludwine's vision for the Living Lands. That's what Ludwine thinks. Adir doesn't revere Wodika as fervently as it once did. Worship of Margrin, Berith, even Aethys has gained a foothold. Many no longer trust that the gods are listening. Some question whether they guide the wheel at all. The Empire lost its foothold in the Eastern Reach. The well-bred avoid child-rearing in pursuit of cosmopolitan pleasures. The Church is weak against them. In a world of soul against soul, Ludwig believes we have lost ours. The Empire must change, or it will die.
Not the only one who feels this way.
Even the Emperor can see, in some sense, that she's right. Why else would we be here?
You think the living lands would stabilize under Delian rule?
Ludwig agrees. Our success would model the order and dignity of the Steel Garrote, for whatever that's worth.
You can say what you want, but you're still trying to subjugate us.
Oh, are we all supposed to spout patriotic Sokka now, or just these two?
When I think dignity, I think of the people who attacked Fior Messiverno unprovoked.
Did I pick the wrong one?
The Inquisitor answers only to Wodika. In attacking Paradise, she has dragged us all far beyond the bounds of the Emperor's desires.
Oh, I can't wait to see how you weasel out of this one.
I know it will. We are leading by example, returning order and dignity to Paradise in the wake of the Clavager's death. We will do the same to the frontier, given the chance.
Where was order and dignity when the Steel Garrote attacked my home?
My administration had nothing to do with that, as I know you know. Adir in rule and rule by the Steel Garrote would be markedly different beasts.
Spoken like a fucking diplomat. Splitting hairs when it all comes from the same head.
Order and dignity. That's what you think we're missing? Bastards! All of you!
You will take it all, whether the chance is given to you or not.
What passes between Ludwig and her men, or between Ludwig and the Emperor, for that matter, is not my affair. But if I had to guess, this was the alternative.
Your empire is doing what it does best. Stamping out dissent until surrender is the only option.
Your republics are hardly any different. Their intentions in the Deadfire were certainly not pure.
As you say, we left the republics for a reason.
I've answered your questions. Now I would like you, all of you, to answer mine. Ludwig has sent a message to the Emperor informing him of her attack. He will send advisors and reinforcements swiftly in response. What will his representatives find when they arrive? A new colony? A budding grave room? Before you face Ludwig, you should know what you're fighting for. All of you must decide, together. But whatever you decide, understand, the days of the frontier are done. Adir will come. Indeed, we are already here.
Why are you and I involved in this decision?
Oh, Envoy, no. Do not suggest that lightly. Think of the Emperor. There would be reprisals. Ones which this conclave could not survive, fractured as you are. Not unless you came together and formed a nation of your own. It would be difficult. No, impossible. I'm certain you would fail. Think of your people, all of you. Think of the lives at stake.
We deserve our autonomy, even if we must fight for it. Anything less would be surrender.
Fleeing someone else's laws and authority is one thing, setting up your own is another. We're an island of misfits and dissidents. We'll still have to surrender some of our autonomy, and we won't agree on what that means overnight. We'll be vulnerable. Without allies, other powers will see us as ripe for the picking. Know that this is a hard road to walk.
We were fine before Adir came. We'll be fine when they're gone.
I think we ran things perfectly fine before your kin got here.
Risk into bounty. Does the winter frost dissuade the seeds?
Why always riddles?
Many fruits on our boughs. We graft many leaves into strength.
Though I'm hardly eager to work with any of you. I like the idea of twisting beneath Adir's boot heel, even less. So long as the Wardens can continue our vigil, I'm open to uniting, if you are.
It's a nice idea, but consider the costs. If we walk away from a relationship with Adir, we're leaving a lot of trade on the table. But the people of Thirdborn have friends in the world. I'm sure we'd find our way through.
With the Envoy's support, we'd have a god in our pocket. What could the Empire do to stop us? When my people return to Fior, we could create such miracles of animancy, the Living Lands would become the breadbasket of the world.
Of course. The Living Lands would become an extension of the Adiran Empire in leadership and law. Soldiers bearing the flag of Adir would be garrisoned in every town. They would be paid in Adiran shelling and speak only the Adiran language. Their roads would be smooth Adiran roads. Their medicine would be hygienic Adiran medicine. And their weapons would be efficient Adiran weapons. Our customs would become their customs. Our strengths would become their strengths. Our emperor would become their emperor. Turned toward a common purpose. No one, not Rawatai, not the Valian republics, not even a rogue god, would dare attack the Living Lands. This island would be safe for the first time in its history, and safe it would remain.
The traditions of Solus are what give my Wardens their strength. Without them, we would buckle under the weight of the tusks. I would sooner walk my people into the acid sea than trust an Adiran to hold me up.
What need does Thirdborn have for the protections of Adiran soldiers? We have cannons, cliffs, and wills forged in the storms of Rawatai. And should Rawatai come for us, we will rain hellfire down on their heads. Your Adirans could do no better.
Under Adiran rule, your countrymen would strip my people of everything that makes them unique, all in the name of spiritual
She's hot
hygiene.
considering her race.
I cannot betray them like that.
He would suppress our culture before it's had a chance to grow. Everything my people cultivated
No,
would be
specular.
reduced to a footnote. If you have any love for this land, do not allow him to overwrite our history.
Rawatai built its empire from colonies like this. Many have become centers of culture and prosperity, backed by the protection of a strong navy. Of course, it can take decades to get there. And this road isn't an easy one. But Adir won't be the only empire eyeing this place. A formal agreement now could protect us from something worse later.
It shall be peaceful in that all dissenters will be silenced. So there's that.
The Living Lands is a lot of things, but it will never be Adir, no matter how hard Adir wants it to be. Adir should turn back now and save everyone a bunch of blessed day trouble.
Nice. We're almost done.
Father's promise. Flip our feathers as we find our wings. The deed binds as the wire binds. To drown us, why were we set free?
Of course. The Living Lands would retain its own laws under a grave appointed by the Emperor. The grave would be expected to promote and develop the Living Lands to our mutual benefit. They would divide the island into administrative districts and see them governed by mayors appointed from the local communities. The island would provide tribute in the form of resources and taxes, and in times of war, soldiers.
Why is
The
that?
Empire, I should note, is nearly always at war. In return, the Living Lands would enter Adir's sphere of influence, and should outside nations attempt to invade, we would come to the Grave Room's aid. Naturally, that would be the Emperor's decision. But I suspect he would choose you. Only the strong survive the frontier. I used to believe that was Ludwig. But you were born to rule here. Quite literally. Well, give the matter some thought. You owe that much to yourself, at least.
We give up our fighters and the wealth of our lands, and get promises in return. But we have wealth enough to give some away, if it means my wardens may return to their vigil in peace.
A grave room could work, so long as trade keeps moving through the Scarp and you're willing to serve as our go-between envoy. And we'll have cannons enough to deter the adherents from trying anything stupid.
With the Dream Scourge ended, my people can soon return to Fior. If a renewed animancy could easily feed the island, I suppose we could send Adir what's left. But when lean times come, who will we feed first? Ourselves or the Empire?
Ourselves first.
Tribute, he says. Taxes. Soldiers. The Empire has tried it all before. Look to the Eastern Reach if you don't believe me. They want to bleed us dry, to fill their coffers and
Nice.
fight their wars, to break us like wild animals. But I will not bend.
It's still a gamble, but I think it's the safest bet. We get the benefits of Imperial trade and protection without losing all of what makes this place special. There's no way of knowing what it would mean in another generation or two. But right now, it gives us the security and stability to recover.
We were fine before Adir showed up, and we'll be fine when they're gone. Trust the lands and her people, Envoy.
If we give Adir power over us, we can't be surprised if they decide to flex it later.
So, pernicious. Cut the rot, yet the disease remains. Safety among spiders. A web gleaming with dew. They weave, they wait.
Well, let's not twiddle our thumbs while Paradis burns. Envoy, be reasonable. This is not a good idea. Give these people an ounce of agency, and there's no telling what they'll do.
As it should be.
Wodeker, have mercy on my soul. Well, what will the illustrious leaders of the Living Lands decide?
So this is what I want. I would prefer we keep to ourselves as we have, but if it will take all of us to repel your people, a united Living Lands it is.
The Living Lands is going to need trade partners if we're gonna make it out here. I support a grave room.
Standing tall together, the Living Lands could be the envy of the world. I am for a united Living Lands.
Well, it's hardly unanimous, but the majority shall rule. This shall be a united Living Lands.
We deserve this opportunity. Thank you for believing in us.
Fighting a battle together is easy. I just hope everyone's willing to stick it out when it comes to the politics.
Gods, they made the right decision for once.
Finally, some sense permeates the proceedings.
On your head be the consequences. That leaves the matter of Ludwine and the Steel Garrote. She will never surrender, Envoy. You must kill her, or we will lose Paradis, and eventually the island.
I'll meet one on the battlefield. Let no man stand who tries to stop me.
The living lands will never be free until we break the chain around our necks. Ludwine must die her final death.
She better say her goodbyes while she can.
I'm proud to fight at your side, Envoy. One last time.
I'm
get
gonna
to work.
rain hell
walking
down
corpse
on
today.
her.
The Paradis militia will be at your back. Give her no quarter. The future waits for you.
Thank you for deserving it. Now, go and teach the Steel Garrote a lesson they will never forget.
Show them that the living lands will not be broken across Vodka's knee.
We will send reinforcements to help you reclaim the Eastern Gate. From there, work your way to the main plaza. Let's just say this is not my first brush with a tyrannical authority, though. I pray it is my last. May all the gods of Eora and the living lands protect you.
Let's take back the city together. Show the Steel Garrote how the living lands takes care of its own.
So we're going after the Steel Garrote now, right? Let's do it.
Let's go free a city, shall we?
Yep. Need more. Ooh. Well, they were probably on you then. First flight, we encountered some pretty bad turbulence. Alright, who wants to talk?